Few militaries in history have garnered as much admiration, or generated as many myths, as the Roman legions. For centuries, these soldiers stood at the forefront of an expanding empire, enforcing Rome's will and reshaping the political landscape of the ancient world. Their feats of engineering, organization, and ferocity on the battlefield remain legendary, fueling the perception that Roman legionaries were almost superhuman. Yet behind every victory lay a system of recruitment and training that was both brilliantly effective and at times brutally unforgiving. The Romans put potential soldiers through a gauntlet of tests and drills, pushing them to endure harsh marches, severe discipline, and strict evaluations of physical and mental fitness. While this methodology produced remarkable fighters, it also left behind unanswered questions. Were certain recruits favored based on family connections? Did the fear of terrifying punishments keep troops in line more than true loyalty? And how did Rome's strict approach shape the empire's long-term stability? Today we'll explore the secrets of the Roman legion's recruitment machine and the relentless routines that molded raw recruits into world-conquering warriors. From the strategic value of picking farm-bred youths to the use of gladiators as trainers, we'll reveal how the legions became such a potent force, and consider whether their methods might be viewed as excessive by modern standards. Unbreakable soldiers inside the brutal training of Rome's legendary legions. Rome's early history was defined by near-constant warfare, forcing the city to develop robust military systems just to survive. Over the centuries, these systems evolved into an institution that blended borrowed tactics from other cultures with Rome's own innovations. By the early empire, the legions were known for their meticulous structure, unwavering discipline, and adaptability, characteristics that empowered them to conquer, hold, and govern vast territories. Central to their success was the belief that the army needed new blood capable of withstanding every hardship. Initial recruitment took social and physical factors into account, shaped by the Roman conviction that environment molded one's character. Rural dwellers, for instance, supposedly made better soldiers, having grown up in fields and forests. Meanwhile, city dwellers were considered too reliant on comfort, requiring additional training to match the fitness and resilience of their countryside peers. Family reputation and personal demeanor also influenced a man's appeal to Roman recruiters. Prospective legionaries had to appear healthy, strong, and quick-witted. Officials regarded details like lively eyes, a sign of alertness and intelligence. Unofficially, stories circulated that men from wealthier families sometimes skirted the harshest tests, pointing to the possibility of bribery. But official doctrine placed loyalty and ability above wealth alone. Once a recruit was deemed physically viable, meeting the minimum height and showing a decent build, he underwent a more thorough examination. Good eyesight, broad shoulders, and overall stamina were crucial. A short man with exceptional strength might still qualify, though height requirements were strictly observed for elite roles. The army sought individuals who could handle marching in full gear, adapt to unexpected commands, and maintain composure under stress. This selection process reflected the Romans' pragmatic mindset. They wanted soldiers who could be molded into disciplined units, men who understood the importance of hierarchy and teamwork. Before any final commitment, recruits faced a rigorous evaluation period. Officers kept an eye out for mental attributes like humor, believed to raise morale. A positive attitude helped foster unit cohesion, mitigating the psychological strains of military life. Despite official rules, rumors persist that a bribe might expedite acceptance, especially if a recruit didn't meet every requirement. Whether such corruption was widespread or limited to certain regions remains unclear, but it suggests that even Rome's vaunted system wasn't immune to human failings. Once accepted, the recruit embarked on a 4-month trial meant to separate the dedicated from the weak. Marching dominated this phase. Recruits lugged over 60 pounds of equipment during 20-mile treks, completed in 5 hours. At times, they faced forced marches of 24 miles in the same window, pushing them to the edge of collapse. Officers preached that if a soldier couldn't keep pace in training, he'd be a liability in actual warfare. During these marches, every man had to keep in perfect formation. The smallest gap or slight drifting to the side risked punishment, sometimes inflicted on the entire unit. This collective accountability bound recruits together, forging the beginnings of a camaraderie where every individual relied on the others to maintain the standard. If one man failed, everyone risked punishment, so each recruit had a personal stake in ensuring discipline. Swimming, too, became an integral skill for infantry and cavalry alike. Rivers dotted Roman frontiers, and the ability to cross them quickly often meant the difference between victory and defeat. Swimming not only built physical endurance, but also acclimated men to harsh conditions, including icy water and strong currents. Some documents hint that advanced water drills tested recruits' capacity to submerge while keeping gear secure, though solid evidence is scarce. Discipline could be harsh. While extreme measures like decimation, executing every 10th man for severe failures, were less common by the early empire, milder but still intimidating punishments kept fear alive. Unofficial punishments, like additional nighttime marches or humiliating public tasks, may have been used by certain centurions with a taste for cruelty. Recruits who completed the 4-month trial emerged far fitter and better bonded as a group. Those who couldn't hack it were dismissed before ever taking the formal legionary oath. At the core of Roman battlefield dominance was a suite of carefully honed weapons. Perhaps the most recognizable is the gladius, the short sword famed for its lethal efficiency in close quarters. Trainees learned to thrust rather than slash, keeping their bodies shielded and delivering devastating wounds with minimal motion. They drilled for hours with wooden swords heavier than the real thing, forging muscle memory and endurance. Equally important was the pilum, a javelin designed to bend upon impact. Recruits practiced throwing heavier wooden versions, building arm strength. A volley of pila could shatter enemy formations before close contact. Every legionary also learned to handle a sling, a fact often overlooked in modern discussions of Roman warfare. Sling bullets traveled at alarming speeds and were harder to spot than arrows, making them fearsome weapons for harassing enemies at range. Moreover, roughly 1/4 of recruits, typically the youngest and quickest, practiced archery. Though archery wasn't Rome's primary tactic, having a portion of the legion trained with bows gave flexibility against foes skilled in ranged combat, such as Eastern horse archers. By mastering multiple weapon systems, each Roman soldier became a versatile fighter, able to adapt to shifting battlefield conditions. While the heavy infantry often took center stage, Rome's cavalry also contributed significantly to imperial expansion. Taller recruits, often with rural backgrounds or specialized auxiliary training, joined cavalry ranks, where they learned to vault onto horses mid-gallop. This skill tested agility and confidence. Riders sometimes wore full armor and carried spears while performing these leaps. Cavalry units were expected to march alongside the infantry for many of the same distances, but they had additional drills in maneuvering, charging, and wheeling around to reform behind friendly lines. Horses underwent conditioning to remain steady amid noise and chaos, often enduring steep or uneven terrain to prepare for real campaigns. Despite its utility, the cavalry wasn't free from scandal. Horses were expensive to maintain, and some wealthy recruits possibly used bribes or family connections to secure easier positions or better mounts. While the extent of these allegations is unknown, it reflects broader speculation about inequalities lurking beneath Rome's structured facade. Nonetheless, mounted troops excelled at scouting and pursuit, complementing the legion's disciplined infantry formations. They might not have matched the sheer mobility of tribal horsemen or steppe nomads, but their coordination with infantry gave Rome a lethal 1-2 punch in large-scale battles. Roman discipline extended beyond the training grounds, permeating daily life in the camp. Soldiers rose early for inspections, marched or performed drills, and took assignments ranging from guard duty to construction tasks. Everything followed a rigid routine. Officers kept tight watch on personal hygiene, the maintenance of weapons, and the cleanliness of quarters. This regimented schedule, repeated day after day, maintained soldier readiness even after the initial trial period. Punishments for infractions ranged from withholding rations to flogging in extreme cases. Desertion could invite execution if circumstances seemed especially damning. Though these measures seem severe by modern standards, the Romans believed that fear of punishment ensured swift obedience, a critical factor, when entire legions had to act as one in the chaos of battle. Still, discipline wasn't merely about instilling terror. Camp life fostered camaraderie and mutual support. Soldiers ate together, shared tents, and swapped stories or jokes during downtime. Those who displayed resilience and humor became informal leaders, boosting morale and diffusing tension. This sense of brotherhood made men less likely to break rank and more willing to endure hardships for their fellow legionaries. While the threat of punishment loomed, it was often devotion to their unit that spurred soldiers to stand firm in the heat of conflict. Rome recognized that forging a soldier went beyond physical toughness. It required steady nerves and emotional resilience. Constant drilling and formation helped recruits respond mechanically to commands, reducing the risk of panic. Over time, these drills instilled an unshakable confidence that allowed legionaries to keep formation even when confronted with charging elephants or sudden ambushes. Rituals played a role in maintaining morale and unity. Oaths of loyalty to the emperor and the gods were serious affairs, tying each soldier's personal honor to Rome's destiny. Before campaigns or in moments of crisis, legionaries participated in sacrifices meant to secure divine favor. Believing the gods were on their side provided emotional fortification, a crucial asset when confronting enemies with fearsome reputations. A legionary's mindset was also buttressed by collective pride in Roman accomplishments. Veterans recounted victorious campaigns, reminding newcomers that Rome's military had a long history of triumphing against formidable odds. This legacy fueled a sense of inevitability about Roman success, encouraging recruits to believe they too could prevail. Yet, psychological strain never vanished. Soldiers lived with the knowledge that failures could spark brutal group punishments. Gossip hinted that some centurions secretly administered herbal concoctions or spiced wines to keep troops alert, though concrete evidence is limited. Whether or not such stories were accurate, they reflect the era's willingness to push men beyond normal limits, all in service of achieving a strategic edge. Even after surviving the trial and initial deployments, a legionary's path was far from easy. Standard service lasted around 2 decades, though terms varied over the empire's timeline. Throughout this period, soldiers continued to drill rigorously, sometimes building roads or fortifications between campaigns. Leaders believed routine repetition was key to maintaining the precision that set the legions apart. Veteran soldiers provided stability and institutional memory. They tutored new recruits, guiding them through complex formation changes or specialized weapons use. In many cases, these older men took pride in preserving the ethos of the Roman soldier, upholding unwavering discipline and teaching younger comrades the subtle arts of battlefield control. As Rome expanded, it needed more recruits from newly conquered territories. This diversification brought in men with different languages and customs, sometimes fostering resentment or mistrust. Officers tried to standardize everyone via the same harsh training, forging a single Roman identity. But over time, certain historians argue, large-scale recruitment of non-traditional populations diluted the army's once rigid ethos. Vegetius famously lamented that Rome's downfall stemmed from relaxing standards, though others point to broader economic and political factors that sapped imperial power. In many ways, the Roman legion remains a paradox. Its disciplined ranks and incredible resilience redefined warfare, paving the way for centuries of conquests and leaving a lasting mark on Western civilization. Yet these achievements emerged from an unforgiving system that demanded mental and physical extremes. Recruits endured a punishing selection process, learned to march and fight under severe conditions, and submitted to officers who could be as harsh as they were effective. Was the system flawless? Certainly not. Rumors of corruption, favoritism, and excessive punishments highlight the human imperfections behind Rome's ironclad exterior. Still, the effectiveness of its methods is undeniable. Few armies in antiquity matched the combination of strategic innovation, relentless training, and powerful unity that characterized the Roman legions at their height. Ultimately, the lessons of Roman military discipline go beyond simply praising or condemning their methods. They serve as a reminder that discipline, organization, and strong leadership can push human potential to astonishing levels, while also raising ethical concerns about how far society should go to create the perfect soldier. The Roman Empire's story is one of ambition, triumph, and eventual decline, with the legions both shaping and reflecting the fortunes of the state. Their influence echoes through time, reminding us that the line between glory and hardship can be razor-thin, and that what one age sees as necessary discipline might strike another as ruthless oppression. Thank you for joining this exploration into the recruitment and training that forged the Roman legions. Whether viewed with admiration or caution, their legacy stands as a powerful testament to the extremes an empire will pursue to maintain its might, and the enduring fascination such dedication continues to inspire.